Greetings, Kentucky. We don't like Kentucky at all. Louisville's John Hadley talks about the rivalry. No one expected this topic, he said. Let's see what's new from Kentucky. The Louisville-Kentucky college basketball rivalry is one of those stories that transcend sports, steeped in decades of tradition, passion, and an almost tribal pride. And if anyone still had any doubts about the weight of this dispute, the words of Louisville forward John Hadley made it clear. We don't like Kentucky at all. This phrase, spoken with the naturalness of someone who has always lived this rivalry, reflects not only the feelings of one athlete, but the echo of thousands of fans who see this matchup as something much bigger than just a game. Coach Mark Pope, leading the Wildcats in this new era, has faced challenges rebuilding Kentucky's on-court identity. However, his presence seems to be restoring the special touch to the rivalry against Louisville that was missing in recent years. The incident involving Pope and Louisville coach Pat Kelsey during the recruiting of a player who ultimately chose Kansas was an interesting turning point. Although both teams later downplayed the incident, it's undeniable that the moment rekindled a spark that makes a rivalry ignite. The Louisville-Kentucky matchup in the 2025-26 season promises to be a landmark chapter in this story. Scheduled for November 11th at the KFC Center. The game arrives early on the calendar, but carries with it an atmosphere that is already being compared to great matches of the past, with both teams projected to be among the best in the country, possibly even the top 10. The matchup takes on even more drama. It's not just a game. It's an opportunity to define narratives, cement legacies, and of course, further fuel the fire of this centuries-old rivalry. The landscape will also be enriched by the combination of young talent and seasoned veterans each team will bring to the court. Kentucky, under Pope, has invested heavily in high-profile transfers and recruits, seeking to bolster its roster to compete in the most competitive conferences. Louisville, with Hadley as one of its standouts, is banking on players who understand the meaning of wearing that red jersey. For them, beating Kentucky isn't just a scoreboard victory, but an affirmation of identity. Hadley, speaking about the rivalry, revealed the beating heart of this dispute. He emphasized how hatred, a strong word, but accurate in the context, is an intrinsic part of the rivalry's DNA. It's what happens when you play for different teams, whether you like it or not, he said. But you need that hatred inside you if you play for either team. This statement is a reminder that, in the world of college sports, some rivalries run so deep that they shape the very essence of players and fans. For Louisville, defeating Kentucky is almost a matter of honor. And for Kentucky, the same is true when it comes to Louisville. What makes it all the more exciting is the way this rivalry is being revitalized. In recent years, it had lost some of its luster, with less even results in games that failed to capture the public's imagination. But now, with Pope and Kelsey leading their respective programs, there's a sense of renewal. The meeting between the coaches outside the recruits' home wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a sign that this rivalry is ready to return to the spotlight. And as the college basketball world eagerly awaits the next chapter in this story, it's clear that Louisville, Kentucky isn't just a game. It's an event that unites generations, ignites passions, and defines identities. When red meets blue again, it won't be just two teams fighting for a victory. It will be the clash of two cultures, two philosophies, and two groups of fans that, regardless of the outcome, will continue to fuel this rivalry for years to come. Mark Pope, with his energy and vision, seems to be exactly the kind of leader Kentucky needed to revive the spirit of this rivalry. His ability to navigate moments of pressure and turn them into opportunities to strengthen the program is already beginning to bear fruit. And as Louisville and Kentucky prepare for another memorable clash, it's clear that this rivalry isn't just about the present, but also about the future. And speaking of that rivalry, the alleged fight between coaches Pat Kelsey of Louisville and Mark Pope of Kentucky outside a teenage recruit's house turned into a story that blends extreme competitiveness, mutual respect, and generous doses of irony. And if there's one thing we can take away from this story, it's that both coaches understand the symbolic weight of their actions, even when they happen off the court. When asked about the incident, both Kelsey and Pope chose to approach the subject with lightheartedness, almost as if they were participating in a sports comedy script. Kelsey, in particular, took the episode to the extreme, joking about an epic fight between the two, comparing Pope to the legendary Paul Bunyan, and even citing Mike Tyson's classic video game Punch-Out! Star, he went all out in the corner. I was just throwing body shots at him, Kelsey said, laughing at her own exaggerated description. In the end, he defined the result as a tie, a term that seems more metaphorical than literal, as the rivalry between Louisville and Kentucky can never be boiled down to something as simple as a tied score. On the other hand, Mark Pope brought a more philosophical perspective to the episode. He admitted that everything was exaggerated on social media, but emphasized that this kind of competitive intensity is healthy for the sport. For Pope, moments like these reflect a total commitment to the program he leads and the rivalry he faces. If you're fully engaged, sometimes you push the boundaries. That's fun for the fans, it's fun for the coaches, and it's fun for everyone, he said. This statement not only humanizes Pope, but also reinforces his view that passion for the game should be celebrated, even when it momentarily gets out of control. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how both coaches manage to balance the tension with mutual respect. Despite the teasing and jokes about imaginary fights, the meeting ended with a hug between Pope and Kelsey. This simple yet meaningful gesture demonstrates that, behind the rivalry, there is an understanding that both are striving for the same goal: to build excellent programs and keep the magic of college basketball alive. This dynamic between competition and camaraderie is what makes sports rivalries so captivating. Louisville and Kentucky aren't just competing for players in recruiting or on-court victories. They're preserving a tradition that stretches back decades. And in this particular case, the incident outside Tay Kinney's home served as a reminder that, even behind the scenes, the rivalry is ever present, shaping how coaches interact and how fans perceive these matchups. With the next matchup scheduled for November 11th at the KFC Center, all this pent-up energy is expected to be channeled onto the court. Recent history gives Kentucky the early advantage, leading the current series 1-0. But, like any great rivalry, the numbers matter less than the emotion and context surrounding each matchup. For Louisville, led by Kelsey, it will be an opportunity for redemption and affirmation. For Kentucky, under Pope, it will be a chance to cement its dominance and prove that the program is ready to reclaim its place among the giants of college basketball. In the meantime, fans can revel in the theatricality of this prelude. After all, it's hard not to enjoy the image of two coaches exchanging taunts about a fictional fight while, deep down, knowing it's all just part of the game. When the whistle blows in November, all the jokes and metaphors will give way to the only thing that truly matters: basketball. A young name has been catching the attention of fans and experts alike: C.J. Works. At 15, he's already a key figure on the field, proving that age is no barrier for those born with talent and determination. Since his commitment to Kentucky just before the 4th of July, many expected great things from Works, but few could have imagined he would achieve so much so soon. With Mark Stoops, the program has experienced ups and downs, but he's a great addition for the Wildcats. He has defied all expectations playing outside linebacker, a notoriously difficult position for any player, especially a rookie. In Brad White's defensive system, which values tactical intelligence and adaptability, Works has demonstrated impressive maturity. He not only quickly learned the complex schemes required for the position, but also executed them under pressure in matches against opponents from the SEC, one of the most competitive conferences in American college football. The defining moment in Works' short career came during the matchup against Georgia, when he recorded 3 tackles, including one for a loss, along with a crucial run at the line of scrimmage. His 24 snaps marked a personal best so far, but more than that, they demonstrated his ability to influence the game even against teams filled with experienced veterans. Coach Brad White highlighted Work's mental attitude, praising his receptiveness to training and his seriousness about the sport without losing the emotional balance necessary to deal with the game's adversities. What makes Works even more interesting is the versatility he brings to Kentucky's defense. With his height, speed, and athletic ability, he perfectly aligns with the successful profile the program seeks to develop. Players like Josh Allen, Jordan Wright, and J.J. Weaver paved the way for this approach, and now Works is ready to follow in their footsteps. His presence allows Kentucky to adopt different schematic strategies, something critical in a sport where adaptability decides games. Alongside Sam Green and Cam Olds, Works strengthens the defensive line, allowing the team to play with a five-man backcourt without sacrificing efficiency. The trust in him from his coaches and teammates is a direct reflection of the hard work Works has demonstrated behind the scenes. The 2 weeks off after fall camp were crucial in solidifying his physical and mental preparation. These strategic breaks allowed the freshman to gain valuable practice reps, building the confidence needed to face elite teams like Georgia and South Carolina. You put a true freshman on the field against teams like those, and he'll have 10 other guys pushing him to make sure he knows exactly what to do, said White, acknowledging the challenges Works faced, but also celebrating his resilience. Works' impact goes beyond statistics. He represents a symbol of renewal for Kentucky football, a program that, under Mark Stoops, has consistently sought to raise its level of competition. The arrival of a player like Works, who combines natural talent with tireless dedication, is a clear sign that the team's future is in good hands. His first 5 games are just the beginning of a promising trajectory, and there's growing expectation that he'll continue to wreak havoc over the next 7 games of the season. As the team progresses through the season, it's clear that C.J. Works isn't just a name to watch. He's a key piece in the puzzle Kentucky is putting together to turn around this long-running system. Leave your comments.